Hello, loveys. How are we? Welcome to Monday, April 28th, 2025. We have wrapped up day 5 in Commonwealth v. Karen Read, and what a day it was. Do you have your pearls to clutch? I am sure you have your own buttholes to clutch, because it was unexpected. I feel like we were assaulted, okay? Our senses were assaulted. Our crash daddies were assaulted. And I don't think it was cool. Hank Brennan looks like a tiny, angry chihuahua. So angry. And really with no one to be angry at but himself, right? Like normally when you have incredible experts such as Karen has in ARCA, you would just have the canyons, the balls, if you will, to fight back in the form of your dude, your guy from Aperture, and you should be all set. But no, not Hank Brennan, not the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. You throw hissy fits. You talk a lot of shit, and your breath must stink. Just saying. Okay, here we go. Hello. Oh. Scooter 54 says that Melanie's head popped off. And I don't like that, because our queen, attorney Melanie Little, should not have her head popping off. All right? While Hank's popping off, I don't need my Melanie feeling emotionally charged like we are, you know? Know what I'm saying? All right. And L Star says it was Who's on First Madness from that overgrown toddler. It sure was. It sure was. And I said bad words, and we know that I do that. Okay, we know that I do have a potty mouth, but when I'm swearing at the televisor, we know that it's been a wild Monday. Okay. And the first dickhead up today was who? Ian Whiffin. Okay. He whiffed a couple of times up there. And I have some cool backup. I have some videos that are going to break down what I believe will prove that there is no possibility that Officer John O'Keefe's phone was outdoors for the hours in which the Commonwealth and Celebrate apparently is claiming. And that his phone remained the same temperature. And that's where the cookie crumbles, loveys. That's where you poke the holes. And these holes are gaping. It's Swiss cheese in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and in Commonwealth v. Karen Read. And we know that. We know it. We know it. But we're going to call it like we see it. And 227 happened. Just saying. Okay? Free Karen Read. Let's get into it. And also, sidebar, loveys, I am working on a different, I don't know what this is. What is this? A different setting today. So usually I'm on the Microsoft Edge. And today I'm chromed up. All right? Top down, chrome spinning. That's what she said. Let's go. Oh, I lied. Shirley says today's duckery was an all new low. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to work through it together, because why? We can. And we will. And we shall overcome. Let us pray. Take it away.
The question was, and how you resolved it.
Of course. Okay. The query revolved around a database called BrowserState.db.
Talk about queries.
BrowserState stores information about Safari internet browser and about the tabs that the user has either had open or has open. Fundamentally, in this presentation, I wanted to include information from iOS 14 and earlier. iOS 14 is not the version of iOS that was on Jen McCabe's phone, but iOS 14 has an easier way to understand how this database works. And then I can move on to iOS 15, which was the device, or was the version installed on Jen McCabe's phone. And hopefully by that point, it'll be clearer how this information is being populated on the device.
Could you tell us what iOS means?
iOS is Apple's proprietary operating system.
Oh. Hello. Death be not proud. Maybe the Chrome
Available
isn't
on
working.
iPhones.
Thank you.
Oh.
Available on iPhones.
Thank you.
Fundamentally, the browser state.db tabs table is shown. Hopefully, I can show this on here in the top here. The real database has many more fields, but these are the fields which are important for the demonstration to just see the row ID, the timestamp that's recorded, the URL or the web address, and the title of the page. And the example at the side there, you can see there's the browser is open, but there is no tab actually in focus at this time.
Oh.
Can I take us just a little bit back so we can put this in context?
Yes.
When you are doing internet searches on your phone and you hit Safari or Google or whatever search engine you're going to use, does it create a tab?
Does it
doesn't create a
create
tab
a
just by opening
tab?
the application, but then maybe tabs already open in the background when you start the application, and then you can tell it to create further tabs.
So if I have a phone, can I have a number of different tabs on my phone at the same time if I search for different things throughout the day?
Correct. You can have hundreds of tabs open.
Do tabs stay open forever or can you close them?
They stay open until you close them.
So if you look at your phone and you have a number of different tabs, and say, for example, I start with one tab, I'm looking for the local
working.
Football score. Can I reuse that same tab for some other search, or do I have to use a new tab to start a new search?
You could use that tab for as long as you wanted, or create a new tab to do additional searches while maintaining the original tab in its current state.
And so what you are trying to demonstrate to the jury is identifying a time on one of these tabs where a particular search was made.
Yes.
Sustained is default.
Could you explain this demonstration as it relates to tabs on these internet searches? What are we actually trying to
What am I doing?
learn?
So as I showed, there's a field in this table called timestamp.
There
It's
is.
called last viewed timestamp. And I wanted to prove or to demonstrate what that timestamp means, how that timestamp gets populated, and how it's relevant or irrelevant to a case.
So if I have one or many tabs open on my phone, each tab will have its own timestamp?
Correct.
And
Correct.
the URL, that's whatever I look up when I search on the search engine?
Okay. Listen, he's going to get into the weeds here, and we're not. Why? Because Tiny Jesus does not consent. But it is so important for him to break down his first, what I believe is a misrepresentation. Do I think he believes it? No. Ian, what is happening? What has happened to you? You look puffy, my friend. Were you drinking? I don't know. I'm not judging. I too am puffy. I get it. But it was weird that he wants to get up here and he wants us all to believe that Celebrate is not accurate. Okay, loveys? Celebrate is not real. Okay, so every defendant and criminal in the United States of America who has been sent to jail based on what? Their Celebrate report. Facts matter journalism. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Nope. Celebrate is kid shit. And basically, it could have one issue with a woman in Canton and a career criminal in Austria. It's only happened 2 times in the history of Celebrate, allegedly. And they had to change the software because Jennifer McCabe is so special. She is so unbelievably unlucky that she did not complete a incriminating Google search at 2:27 a.m. But every other criminal that ever has didn't do it. Okay? Thank you. Continue. Oh. Press play.
Is that what's looked at?
That's great. The URL is the address of the page that's being viewed.
So if I have a tab
Page.
open and I use it continuously, 3, 4, 5, 10 times, will the timestamp change?
No, it will not.
And is that what you're explaining to us now?
Correct. That's part of the demonstration and presentation.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
So in this instance, at 10 a.m., which is shown in the top of the device there, we can see I visit firstpage.com as an example website. At that time, a row is created in the database that shows row ID 1. with the timestamp 10 a.m. when the page was opened. The URL and the title are relevant to the page that was visited. So first,
right, it is. Don't care. Now, let's get right over here. I just wanted him to tell you about how you open up a tab, because apparently we're all boomers. You are me and I am you.
when this tab was closed, a record is created in the browser state database that shows the timestamp 1:59:44 a.m. That would have been the tab at the time that the tab took focus, and then the Hock Sports Friday schedule scoreboard URL. At 2:27:31, there was a browser switch occurred, and the last visited timestamp that's held in memory would have taken the time that this occurred, so 2:27:31. This URL was PayPal. There was no navigational event listed in history, so this wasn't a page that was
no
visited from a bookmark or from
navigational
typing
event.
a URL. It was whatever was currently shown in that tab when the tab was brought into focus. And we know that this exact URL was last visited at 7:40 a.m. on the 28th of January.
Oh,
This is
fuck
evidence of the
off.
browser state and in knowledge C. Around a second later, that tab gets closed, and that record gets written to the database with the time of 2:27:31.
Okay, so she's doing a lot at 2:27, but where has our little dog gone?
So that tab gets closed, and that record
No, we gotta get, okay.
to take on the time of 2:27:40.
Here it is.
At this point, when it loads up, the same page that was open when Safari was minimized is shown. So we still see hockenmocksports.com/schedules/girls-hockey/franklin/2021-2022.
Incredible.
There's no navigational event at this point, so we know that it wasn't completely reloaded. It's just showing what was on screen previously, and it's evidenced in the knowledge C database. At 6:23:14.
Well, wait, I just wanted to say that that doesn't make sense either. Because he's saying that allegedly that Jen didn't look up Hockamock Sports then, but she did, because she told you when she was snug as a bug up in her bed with Mr. Veneers lying next to her in bed. She said, I was looking up my daughter's sports, okay? And why wouldn't I be doing that at 2:27 after several beveraginos all night and all day? And after singing It's Raining Men because it's an inside joke for me and my sisters. Stop it, Jennifer. And then you were also texting who? Group chats with your sleeping, your tiny or not tiny, your slumbering king right beside you? Oh.
9, there's a cache file created. The cache file is related to how long to digest food. Now, these particular cache files show up as suggestions in Safari. So as you're typing in a query or a word or a URL, for example, Safari tries to take that information and make suggestions based on what it thinks you might be searching for. So if, for example, you were to type in how long to die with the word spelled just DI, Safari can mistake that for how long to digest food, and it could present this information. And up until about 12 months ago, this is the information that was provided by Safari. If you were to do this search, if you were to type in how long to DI, you would get the result that's shown at the top of the screen with an image of somebody eating a.
Now, this is important. This is important, loveys. And remember, he says up until a year ago, right? That this would be what comes up. You don't have to press enter, but if you put in how long to DI, you would get the digest food. Okay, continue.
Plate of food. And this is the image that was cached onto Jen McCabe's phone at 6:23:49.
Sure it
What
was.
does cache mean?
Essentially downloaded now for use later. It will download it, it will save it in case it's required again. If it is, it doesn't need to download it, it's already there. If it's not required again, eventually it will be deleted.
So is it stored information from prior events that's available in case the device thinks you're looking for it?
Yes, so at this point in time, at 6:23:49, when it downloaded it, that's the first time that it's downloaded this image, and it stores it.
Yep.
If an hour later, for example, I did the same search a second time, it wouldn't need to re-download the image because it's already got it in cache. So the creation time of this image shows that this is the first time that this cache file was downloaded. A few seconds later, at 6:23:51, the blue button at the bottom of the keyboard is used to submit a search for the term how long tid I in CIKD, CIKD. This creates a specific URL in Safari, which is shown on screen here. So google.com/search how long tid I in CIKD, IE UTF-8, OE UTF-8. Client Safari is the important part of this string that tells us that it's a query that's made using Safari. This is different to if I visited Google, for example, and just typed in the search text box in Google. It wouldn't necessarily have the same structure of the URL. So we know that this is the query created by submitting a search using the.
We're going to refer to our Auntie Deb as query from now on. Continue.
the search bar here and pressing the blue button at the bottom. We know that that search was conducted at 6:23:51, according to the information in mobile safari.plist.
6:23:51.
Knowledge C also shows that this page was visible. Importantly, there is no
CIKD.
history
Okay.
record made that shows that the navigation actually occurred to this website.
Mm.
Several reasons why that might happen. One could be if the device was in private browsing mode. However, it can't have been in private browsing mode because if it was, we wouldn't have the search recorded in the mobile Safari plist either. So we know it wasn't in private browsing. It could have been deleted at some point after the fact. That would leave a gap in the numbering. Every time a record is written, it would be consistent numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And to delete a number would leave a gap there. So you would see 1, 2, 4, 5, and that number will pretty much never be reused.
Oh,
so
God.
if you don't see a gap, then you can be confident that nothing was deleted. And there are no
Okay.
gaps on this device. The third reason, and the one that I believe is the reason why it wasn't recorded in the database, is that the page never completely loaded. If I go to a web page and cancel the navigation prior to it completing the load, it will never get written to the history database.
Judge Canoni has
there's a
no
second
idea.
search submitted using the same method, so still using the Safari search bar, this time searching for hot, long, to die, and cold.
Oh.
This is evidenced in the mobile safari.plist. Again, there is no record made in the history database that to me suggests that the page never successfully loaded.
It didn't load. So
At
this is what he's
6:24:24,
saying.
Safari is minimized again. It gets reopened at 10:33:33 a.m. Again, loaded from the app library.
Okay, so now here's where I come in. Hi, babes, come close. Let's talk. Oh, I know that felt like nothing, but it's something. Okay, I know. L Star says all I hear is rah, rah, rah. It is Charlie Brown, but it's important. Okay, and sometimes we have to listen to Charlie Brown's teacher. Why? Because it's contraindicated in testimony in 1.0, and we have Mr. Nurse Kim. Okay. Mr. Nurse Kim cannot come through for me as it relates to my desktop. Why? Because we're going to have, we'd have a bit of a argument. Okay. We had an argument when it came to the boom and the Shure microphone, trying to connect that. He tries to help. I feel as though it's not that helpful. So I need a guy. Okay. He's coming tomorrow. Anywho, there is something to be said that the timelines that this mofo put together, that Ian Whiffin thought that he was, pulling a fast one on the defense and or the jury, that he pulled together all of this information and put it on these little slides. P.S. I like the slides. I like visual aids. I'm a visual learner. Are you? Are you a visual learner? Because some people aren't, they can hear things. I am not that blessed. I need to see it and then I get it, right? So he provides that how long TI die in CIKD occurred at 6:23:51. And at 6:24:24 a.m. was the infamous Hoss long to die in cold search. Okay. Now, stay with me, babes. This is going to get a little technical, but we know I'm not technology inclined. So if I get it, you're going to get it. The search at 2:27 a.m. was for Hoss long to die in cold. Okay? If Ian Whiffin and the Commonwealth were correct, then the 6:23 a.m. search should have been the how long TI die in CIKD. Hold, I'm going to show you a visual representation as my visual learners and best friends from out of town. Duh. Okay, hold please. So this is from the Celebrite report that actually was produced from 2023. And up at the tippity top, you can see it's the 227 search, but that doesn't match the first search that was conducted in the morning. So I'm going to try to make this make sense. Had Jennifer McCabe searched the Hoss long to die in cold search first, then it could have been plausible. It could have made sense. because she just opened that same tab from Hockamock Sports and 227, whatever that was opened, and she put that specific search in. But the fact of the matter is that the first search conducted in the morning, she did incorrectly. Criminally incorrectly. Because it was the how long TI die in CIKD. And then a 6:24 a.m. search came up with the Hoss long to die in cold. That is impossible, babes, because it would have auto-populated back to the one that we were alleging that occurred at the 227. Boom. Okay? I'm going to take this media asset down. Are you blacked out? Okay? Because Mr. Nurse Kim said this to me in trial 1, and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. And then afterwards, I was like, wait a minute. I don't know if that does make sense. But now that I've watched it and I've heard Ian Whiffin's whiff trying to teach me, it does make sense. Because he has said that it had to be in chronological order, right? Like you would have had to, oh, poor Jen, she was just up in her bed and she was looking up the Hokamoka books, the sports. And, so she didn't actually download it and it was in the DMV, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, poor thing. She just opened that tab wrong. Oops. Oopsie daisy, Ihan. You are incorrect, good sir. And you are incorrect because you told me that it's going to populate from, oh, she was just in that browser. But how did it go to a second search? It couldn't. You're welcome. Oh, ah. Okay, that's our first karate chop to Ian Whiffin. Okay. Now, smart and pretty. Look at Fredero. She goes, why are they not talking about her Life 360? Why would they? Just saying. They don't want to. Okay. Now, next part. This is where I went down a rabbit hole of unknown origin. You know how I am.
Register?
It could register some, but typically it's...
Oh. Hello? Mr. Whiffin.
Was what he was doing and whether his phone was inside or outside?
That was my goal, yes.
And you engaged in that analysis, sir?
I did.
And in your efforts, did you write a report?
Okay, so this report was the first time that I had seen, and again, I love a visual aid, the order of operations and the process of Officer John O'Keefe's phone from traveling from Waterfall Bar and Grill to 34 Fairview, and the calls and texts that took place, as well as Karen's calls and texts to Officer John O'Keefe. And this is major to me, okay? And I think that this has 100% set up the Commonwealth for a battle royale, because you've left yourself vulnerable and open to attack. And when Bob Alessi gets a hold of you, our attorney, Robert Alessi, gets his grip into Jessica Hyde, if she comes back, or anyone else who is going to attempt to sell this bill of goods, they are going to get absolutely KO'd. Finish him. That's what we'll say. Stop. Okay. Continue.
I did.
Did you write multiple reports on these separate issues?
I did.
And those reports are provided to everybody?
Yes.
In addition to the reports that you generated from your study, did you present or did you prepare a PowerPoint?
I did.
Does the PowerPoint outline some of those points?
It does.
At the end of the PowerPoint, do you go through a timeline accumulating many of these pieces of evidence together that show them in a chronological sequence?
I do.
Does that help capture the movement of non?
Oh, yes. He's a chronological
fits the pattern of the
King
road.
or
The cadence
queen.
and the speed are
Do.
per
I
slide.
don't care about
So
those.
24 minutes and 20 seconds, we
Nope, dumb.
0.5 miles an hour, at which point it's
Oh, we never stopped the
approximately
car.
outside of the
Okay.
34.
Oh, what a moron. What a moof. Oh.
Who's rise to the jury?
Hi, OnlyFan. Was it here? No, must be the next. Was it here? Okay.
Points when you track Apple Health data. Is that helpful, even if you're only trying to isolate a certain point in time?
It can be, yes.
Does it help determine whether or not it was working properly? If it was,
It can determine whether it's working properly. It can determine an average kind of walking speed, for example, of a person, the average gait that the person may walk with, if that was important.
Oh, the
if a
average
person has
gait.
an iPhone and they're moving and it registers Apple Health data, and then they stop moving, and the healthcare data doesn't register because there's no movement, would the Apple Health data resume movement even if somebody else picks up the phone?
It would. The phone itself doesn't care who's carrying it. It just looks for movement.
So it doesn't
Exactly,
identify the
Karen.
owner in order to register movement?
Correct.
Your Honor.
Does it identify the owner in order to register
Better
movement?
question.
It doesn't know.
Could you turn to the next part of the data analysis that you did?
Yes.
Oh,
So the two sources that I got the Apple Health data from were a database called healthdb_secure.sqlite. This, as I said earlier, is the typical database that's used to store long-term information about the health activity that's been recorded. So, and that is what this table is here. And you can see we've got an ID number, a timestamp, and a value of locked. But we also
JK,
show
babes,
a
we're
second
almost
table
there.
that's involved called PL storage operator. Event
oh, I
forward,
don't care
time
about
offset.
that. Oh, that was the worst. Trying to listen to him tell me about 3 clocks. I was like, no.
Degrees.
Here it is.
Is that before or after the healthcare data started?
Oh, wait. Is this it? Wait, did I miss the other part? Oh, no. Hold on. I might need to go back. Hold on, babes. I'm so sorry. No, I didn't. Okay. All right. We're going to just hit this table first because I have made a discovery. We know me. I've done it. Continue.
We have a temperature sensor built in within the phone, monitoring for if the battery temperature increases too high, it becomes a danger, or if the temperature gets too low and becomes an issue. So it constantly monitors the temperature of the battery and records that information in the Knowledge C database.
Did you look into the battery temperatures from before midnight and after midnight and do an analysis regarding the temperatures of that cell phone battery?
I did, yes.
Oh, he
Throughout
did.
the evening of the 28th of January, and then the morning of the 29th.
He's so full of
Whiffin,
shit.
that's going to be hard to read. Is there any way you can enlarge it?
This
Right,
was
probably not.
hilarious.
There we go.
Babes, this is supposed to be like a genius, a Celebrite genius. This is supposed to be someone who like has developed software. Hank Brennan asks him, "Hey, can you make that bigger? I can't read it." He goes, "Oh, that's not it. Oops." I go, "Oh, okay." His PowerPoint. Get your PowerPoint under control, Whiffin.
Thank you.
So on the evening of the 28th, see an average temperature of around mid 80 degree Fahrenheit. I've got no understanding of where the device was at this time, whether it was in a pocket on a surface, whether it was in use or not. But I just wanted to get an average idea of temperatures of the device. By 13 minutes after midnight, we're still at 8.
Oh, hi, news junkie. No, he is not full of shit. You just don't like his report. I love his report. News junkie, thank you so much, though, for being here. And let's talk, okay? Because you can have a totally different opinion than me. And I love to have a good debate. As long as it is respectful and like you're not like telling people to just, I don't know, a self checkout in my chat. I would love you to be here. Okay. I love the visual aids and I love what his visual aids say. Now we're going to get into this, Bad Larry, because this is the most important. Babes, look at what I am telling you. And I tell you I tell you this to tell you this. The battery temperature is important. And there is something that is quite inexplicable. On January 29th at 12:13, which is the top line, and it's the 5 UTC, the battery temperature is 82 degrees Fahrenheit. We know that Officer John O'Keefe is where? Inside the inside the bar because he leaves at 12:14. Then at 12:22, he's in Karen's vehicle. And the battery of the phone has already gone down to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. And you say, oh, okay. So now from a warm inside the waterfall to warm inside Karen's vehicle. Okay. At 12:37, his phone registers at 72 degrees. Presumably, he was outside, not in Karen's vehicle, because we know that Karen had returned and connected to One Meadow Wi-Fi at 12:36 a.m. Okay? Now, here's where the interesting part. Here's where I want your spidey senses to absolutely just freaking bust through your seams. At 12:45, he is rapidly reduced to 66 degrees Fahrenheit. At 12:53, down another 5 whole degrees temp-wise to 61 degrees Fahrenheit. At 1:07, he registers at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, this is the phone, Officer John O'Keefe's phone. At 1:36, he is at 50 degrees. You're averaging 5 degrees per 30 minutes. Okay? Somehow, inexplicably, from 1:36 to 6:06 a.m., Officer John O'Keefe's phone battery only goes down 7 degrees in 4.5 hours. Oh. And even more inexplicably than that, the coldest body temperature time, battery temperature time, is 37 degrees Fahrenheit at 6:14, when we know that Kerry Roberts had found Officer John O'Keefe's phone before EMS even arrived, emergency medical services. And let's just remember what Kerry Roberts said about Officer John O'Keefe's phone when she found it in trial 1. Clip.
Underwear, like his, whatever that, the right side of his back.
What I'm asking is basically sort of up towards the shoulder blade or down towards his lower back, if you.
In the middle.
And when you saw the phone on the grass, what, if anything, did you do with Mr. O'Keefe's phone?
I picked it up. I put it in my pocket. And at some point, one of the first responders asked if I had it. I handed it over.
And do you recall who that first responder was?
No.
Do you recall even whether it was a police officer, or a firefighter, or a paramedic? Or...
No.
Oh. So we're going to when he moves forward and Mr. Whiffin tells us additional information about this, we will then learn later about what they refer to as you're in a pocket or pocket clear. And this chart is huge because this lets us know that it is absolutely 100% impossible, inexplainable to have the battery temperature of an iPhone only drop 7 degrees in 4.5 hours when we know what the temperature was that night. It was between 18 degrees and 22 degrees Fahrenheit. And there was wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. If you don't remember the storm on January 29th, 2022, I'm going to show you someone who does. His name is Harvey Leonard. And he was my grandmother, my Nana Phyllis's favorite meteorologist.
Snowfall amounts, it might even turn out to be historic.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
So this is our estimate. Yep, we're estimating about 2 feet or a little bit more of snow. Some of this will depend on exactly where the very heaviest band's set up, but it does look like widespread heavy snow.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
I mean, I think Boston and much of the area is actually going to probably average at least 2 inches of snow per hour. Do the math. That would be 2 feet of snow right there.
No, God!
There's the storm, remember, intensifying dramatically as it does this. The wind field picks up. The darker the blue, the heavier the snow. And it's just going to go on and on and on all day Saturday.
No,
and it's just
God,
a
please,
snow blitz
no,
and near
no.
whiteout conditions much of the day on Saturday with tremendous wind. First northeast, then north. That's what brings the Arctic air down while we're still getting the snow. Wetter snow with those temperatures on the Cape. Greatest risk of power outages with tremendous wind to go along with it. This just goes on and on and on until we get to late on Saturday night with the very cold air to follow. Look at some of the wind gusts. They could be approaching or reaching hurricane force on the Cape and maybe even on Cape Ann, 50 to 60 likely in Boston as well.
Oh, okay. Tell us, Ian Whiffin, tell us more.
82 Fahrenheit. At 22 minutes after midnight, we know from the location data that the device was currently in a car, and we see the temperature has dropped to 77 Fahrenheit. By 37 minutes after midnight, we now know the device is already at Fairview. It's been at Fairview for approximately 12 minutes, and the temperature has continued to drop. It's now 72 Fahrenheit.
Mr. Whiffin, if I can interrupt you. At 12:37, when the temperature drops to 72 degrees, is that before or after the healthcare data stops for that evening?
That's after.
Thank you.
45 minutes past, the temperature's dropped to 66 Fahrenheit. 53 minutes past, it's dropped to 61 Fahrenheit. 7 minutes after 1, it's dropped to 55 Fahrenheit. 1:36, it's dropped to 50. And then we have a large gap in the data, with the next record being made at 6 minutes after 6 a.m., when the temperature is 43 Fahrenheit.
Mr. Whiffin, if a phone has any protection or coverage, well, let me ask it this way. Do you know what, if anything, happened around 6:02, 6:03 to trigger that 6-degree drop in temperature?
I don't know. I truly know.
Okay. And then you're now at 6:14 and it's 37 degrees?
Yeah, you're correct. This is the coldest temperature recorded.
Do you know what, if anything, happened to that phone at 6:15:01?
I don't know.
Okay, please continue.
Okay. Our KFF Foods, how is it a reverence to the weather, to Harvey Leonard? What is there a reverence to? Because I most certainly take the death of Officer John O'Keefe incredibly seriously. And I also take the fact that Karen Reed, whom I believe is a factually innocent woman, her fight very seriously as well. This is unserious to me. This testimony and the information that was presented today and the special attorney, the special district attorney mob lawyer that was a hired gun of the Commonwealth, that is disrespectful and irreverent, in my opinion.
And then as of that point in time, from 6:35, we start to see an increase in temperature to 43 Fahrenheit. At 6:40, it's up to 50 Fahrenheit. At 6:48, up to 55 Fahrenheit. And at 6:56, up to 61 Fahrenheit. And then also plotted this out onto a graph just for visualization. Again, we can see on the evening of the 28th, the temperature is relatively consistent. It starts to drop as we know the phone is traveling in a car. And by the time it arrives at Fairview, we only see it drop until 1:36 a.m. We see a relatively...
And isn't that weird that the battery temperature of Officer John O'Keefe's phone does not get any lower, right? The fact that they're trying to sell you a bill of goods, that 43 degrees is the bottom out, basically, until 6:16, it's inconceivable. It's a lie. Okay? And just in case anybody is like questioning or saying, well, I don't really know how cell phone batteries work, right? Like, we don't know exactly how the cell phone battery is going to be able to say it operates, right? Well, I've got a little something for us, because it is 100% like unexplainable that if Officer John O'Keefe was out with Michael Camerano and they were at CF McCarthy's and then they went to the waterfall and then they were traveling to 34 Fairview Officer John O'Keefe used his phone because he was texting with Karen, and also he had called and texted with Jen McCabe. And additionally, he had used his Waze. So that is using battery in cold conditions. And I don't know if any of you have ever had your phone just turn off, because I have. I remember specifically the storm of 2013 when it was the Halloween storm, babes. Anyone from Massachusetts or New England, do you remember the Halloween storm where all the ice and all of our power went out and it was freezing and I had little tiny babies? And I was like, oh, and I had to get a hotel in Chelmsford. And it got so cold in the house, and it was only like maybe 50 or maybe like the high fit, maybe no, it was probably low 50s, 50 or 51 degrees in the house. I was like, I have to go to a hotel. And my cell phone shut off. So there is not a way that you are going to tell me that his cell phone remained on from a night going out with his friend at 8 o'clock when they left, and then made it until the next morning that his phone was on and was walking around, still taking steps in the weather in which he was exposed to. Officer John O'Keefe, if he was on that lawn and his phone was found in the middle of his back, not in his pocket, that does not make sense. And let's go through what a battery is going to tell you exactly how it works or how it doesn't in the cold. Okay. So it's not that the lithium ion battery cannot work in those extreme cold temperatures, loveys. It's the fact that the conduit and the molecules can't travel as fast as they do when it's within that range of ambient working, right? So there is no way that it was dropping 5 degrees every Q30 minutes. And then all of a sudden at 1:30 a.m., it stops dropping. And that his phone still had juice in the morning and was found and was working and in the pocket of Kerry Roberts and then given to a paramedic. Nope, lies. Stop it. Cut it out. You look like an asshole, in my opinion. All right. Boom. Now, next, tell us more, Mr. Whiffin. Oh.
Modest drop over the next few hours.
Modest.
No records recorded.
Oh.
We see the final drop at 6:14, and then we see an increase. But there are no increases occur prior to 6:14 that would suggest that the phone went from a cold environment to a warm environment or had extensive usage.
This shouldn't happen. Like in a weather event, loveys, that could not have occurred. This basic same temperature in a blizzard.
Between 1:36 a.m. and 6:06 a.m., is there any indication at any time that that battery temperature went up?
No, there's no records related to battery temperature at all for that time.
Thank you. Is there another area that you looked at for your conclusions in this case?
Yes, I was looking at device usage.
What is device usage?
Information about when the user unlocks the phone, what applications they're using, what they're using the device for, and when they lock the phone again.
Thank
Would
you.
device usage require an actual person to interact with the phone, or can it happen without user interaction?
Everything I was looking at was related to physical interaction and manipulation of the device by a user.
Okay. Now let's just get to this because it's actually a pretty good timeline and I liked it. Again, I love a visual aid, babes. Did you tell me, do you love it too?
So, for example, if I make a phone call, it will continue to check and look for a face up until the phone call ends, or the ringing ends. So in this case, at 12 minutes and 37 seconds, see a small amount of time where...
Yes, love a with cheese. I will be on. Vinnie Politan invited me back to his house. I can't stop. I am going on I'm segment B and D. So I'll be there from 9:30, I think, to 10. Thank you for asking. Please watch or don't. Don't watch. Yeah, maybe don't watch. Oh.
4 Doppler checks were conducted. And that ended at 12 minutes 37 seconds with a pocket state cleared event. At 12 minutes and 39 seconds, there was a 7.5 second period where 108 Doppler checks were.
Okay, this is big too. When he says that the Doppler and the pocket check, right? At 12:37, there were 4 records that were cleared. How? How is that possible? How are you telling us that at the 12:23:31, he cleared it at 31, he was in his pocket, and then it was opened and cleared again last at 6:02. That was by who? Kerry Roberts. But if it's documenting that the 12:33 and 14 seconds and then milliseconds, that's wild. All right, continue.
Conducted. Again, that ended with a pocket state cleared event at 12 minutes and 46 seconds. At 25 minutes and 8 seconds, there was a single Doppler check.
Okay, we'll go here. Ready? Here it is. Boom.
This ID and the message "you coming here" is read at 25 minutes and 8 seconds after midnight. At 25 minutes and 9 seconds after midnight, the device...
Shady. Shade lives upon us. Shade lives within the Commonwealth. And why, oh why, had Ian Whiffin swallowed a fly? Okay, I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Just come find the guy. Okay, this is what he's saying here. Because for there to be a red message, are you coming here, and not noting who that message came from was a tactic. It was approved, it was reviewed, it was overlooked and wanted to come off this way to a jury. Because you coming here at 12:25:08 was from who? Big Neck Daddy Higgins. Then he locks the phone, Officer John O'Keefe. The next message that comes in is here, ? From who? A Jennifer McCabe at 12:27 and 33 seconds. The strategic removal of names from this visual aid is telling. It is slimy. And it's on par, in my opinion, with Hank Brennan allowing things and not playing fairly.
Is locked using the lock button. At 27 minutes and 33 seconds after midnight, a text message is received from Jen McCabe saying "here." At 27 minutes and 45 seconds after midnight, the device is unlocked using Face ID, and the "here" message that was just received is read at 27 minutes and 48 seconds. At 27 minutes and 50 seconds, the lock button is pressed by the user, causing the device to lock. At 29 minutes and 37 seconds, we start to get some Doppler checks, and at 29 minutes and 42 seconds, the pocket state cleared event is written. At 29 minutes and 44 seconds, there's an incoming call from Jen McCabe. This is answered and lasts for 7 seconds, ending at 29 minutes and 51 seconds. At 29 minutes and 52 seconds, the device is unlocked, and a second later, the lock button is pressed, causing the device to lock again. 31 minutes and 47 seconds after midnight, a message is received again from Jennifer McCabe saying "pull behind me." And at 31 minutes and 52 seconds, the Doppler check records a pocket state.
Okay. Now, oh my, Here we
the
go.
device, which is unread. This is followed up 2 minutes later, 42 minutes and 9 seconds, by another message from Jennifer McCabe saying, "Where are you?"
Where are you?
And at 42 minutes and 35 seconds, there's a 40-second voicemail received from Karen.
Oh, where are you? From Jennifer McCabe, who initially told us in trial 1, babes, that she had seen, got up and physically went to a door or window and visualized Karen Reed's vehicle at 34 Fairview on January 29th, 2022. Which we know is a lie, because Karen was back at Officer John O'Keefe's house by 12:36 a.m. Oh, come on. Come on, scroll. All right.
It says, read message, you coming here, with 3 question marks. What I'd like to do, because you did not note who that was from, but I want to go back a
Thank you,
few
Carla. This is it.
slides so we can identify who that message was from. We could go back to 76, please, Mr. Wolfe. So in the last line there, message reading left to right 20, 12, 20, 49, it says message received from someone listed in context as Brian Higgins. Do you see that?
Correct.
So if we could go back to slide 80, excuse me, if we could go back to slide 79, that phone reading the message, you coming here, is reading the message from Brian Higgins, correct?
Correct.
But you didn't note that in the timeline that that was from Brian Higgins, correct?
No, I was just highlighting the fact that a message was read and that the contents of the message were, "You coming here."
But you didn't note in this entry, when it was read by John, that that message was from Brian Higgins, correct?
Correct.
Now, the next entry, lock, again, I'm always going to be reading left to right unless otherwise indicated, sir, is time of 12:25:09. And it says, device locked with lock button.
Yes.
You see that, sir?
I do.
That requires human volitional conduct. In other words, someone has to actually manipulate their phone and hit it,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Now, at this particular point, isn't it correct that in your report that you mentioned in your March 2025 report, that you had more of a description of what was happening at this time with the phone, namely device bearing shifts to a westerly direction, as location records also show the device moving west from the roadside towards the house. Isn't that what you had in your report?
Yes, that's covered in the location section of this report.
So there is no statement in this timeline under any type where you had concluded that at this time the record showed that the device was moving west from the roadside towards the house, correct?
The location, latitude, longitude was moving westerly, but at the same time, the accuracy was increased.
West from the roadside toward the house, loveys. That's huge. And it was left out of the Commonwealth's representation today and the report from their expert. Blacked out. That was what I wanted to go over. I believe that Bob Alessi just knocked it out of the park. What do you guys think? I thought that was incredible. This is very dry testimony. We know that the Commonwealth always disputes Jennifer McCabe's 227 Google search, which I believe happened because of the order of operations. Had Hoss Long to Dying Cold been the first, the literal first one that populated in the Google searches, then I would say they could be correct. But because it wasn't, there is not an opportunity for that to be actually how the Google searches occurred. The next thing is I believe that there are holes that are poked in the battery temperature of Officer John O'Keefe's cell phone battery. Impossible that he was outdoors while incapacitated with no coat, no hat, no nothing on. and that it only dropped 7 degrees in 4.5 hours. Nope. Wrong answer. And that you see on that graph, babes, this line, right? This line that's like, oh, it just was stable. There was nothing stable. There was winds howling that night. It was between 18 and 22 degrees. Impossible that his phone that battery were to maintain staying on for the length of duration in which it did, and to have the temperature of that battery. Nope, denied. And finally is the shade that was in which this chart was formed and presented under false pretenses that needed to be cross-examined, hip-checked, and taken to church by Robert Alessi. Thank you. Now, we will move on to the Voadier heard round the world that I felt in my soul. Babes, I had chills. They were multiplying. I had no idea what the fuck I was watching today. This is exactly what I felt like. I am Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Get off the plane.
What?
Get off the plane.
Ma'am, we're taxiing.
I don't give a shit. Get the fuck off my plane. Yeah, get the fuck off of my plane. I can't believe that you put that out on Tumblr.
No Tumblr.
Okay. Stop the engine!
Yeah. Stop the engine, Hank. Because Hank Francis, first of your name, we saw your behavior and we clutched our pearls and clenched our butts in disgust. We looked at our king, Daniel Wolfe, Arca, physicist. Nope. Nope, he's not a biomechanics. He is a accident reconstructionist. And he answered the questions in the tone in which you used to the best of his ability. I was impressed. There were a couple of, my eye twitched, all right? But I get it. And now we're going to get it. Hi, OnlyFan. How are you? Where you been? Miss your face. They were on a short break, were they? Oh, we didn't know what we were coming back to. Short dance break. To the rhythmic sounds. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Oh, we changed it up. Oh, this feels good too. Oh my gosh, there's rhythmic bangers here, babes. Burp, burp. Okay. Find your home. Where are we going?
Get involved. I didn't think Mr. Jackson knew you could get involved.
JK.
Did you receive a
It's coming. I can't see anything. I don't know why. On the timeline. The timeline told me. I'm not Kerry Roberts. I'm just kidding. Court will resume shortly. Take your time. And allow the OnlyFan to bring you a little bit of peace. A little bit of insomnia curing, right? Melatonin is for the weak. We have the OnlyFan. Oh, come on.
Today, if
Here it
not,
is.
we'll have to have them back, but I expect we can get through them. So, Mr. Brennan, who are we going with first? Dr. Wolfe?
please?
Okay.
For anybody who was not able to watch, this is OJP. Yeah, you know me. Outside of the jury's presence. Continue. Who's he? Look at this. Look at this. Oh, I'm going to put this on slow motion because I felt rattled by his face, as always. And who is he sitting next to? The original petty paralegal. his paralegal with boxed Nikki haircuts. I didn't know you were at court today. And Jenna. Oh, you little shits. Oh, I'm jelly. Call me peanut butter jelly time. And look at Jenna. Look at Jenna Rocco looking at Hank Brennan. And she's near the petty paralegal. Oh, I bet you she was wearing an ill-fitting pencil skirt. Oh, Nikki's talking shit. I love it. Oh, B. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now, ladies and gentlemen. With a man with that strong of a part does something, you know? Gets you feeling good. Strong side part. Woohoo!
You solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give to the court in the matter now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, and look at Judge Cannoni. Oh.
All right, go right ahead, Mr.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Good afternoon, doctor.
Good afternoon.
Did you become aware there was an order from this court to produce records?
Yes.
Did you receive a copy of that order?
Yes.
Who did you receive a copy of that
So we
order?
need Dr. Wolfe to identify himself.
Please identify yourself for the record. Spell your last name.
Daniel Wolfe, last name spelled Wolfe.
Who did you receive that order from?
I believe it was in an email forwarded from Miss Little.
Did you read it?
Yes.
Did you understand that there was a request for certain communications?
Oh, sorry, Levies. Just wanted to say that out the gate, right? First of all, Hank, again, you forget how to do your job. Every time there's some kind of mess up where Judge Cannoni's like, yeah, he needs to identify himself. Identify yourself as Crash Papi. Papi. What? Stop it. Okay. Next. Then he is immediately coming out swinging at Dr. Wolfe, saying to him, did you understand the court order? Bitch. Hank Francis, first of your name, go clutch your pencils and think about what you've done in your life. Shut it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Oh, continue.
Yes.
Did you understand that you were supposed to turn those records over to the Superior Court?
Yes.
Did you turn records over to the Superior Court?
I provided a copy of that production notice to Miss Little.
Did you provide the records to the Superior Court?
I didn't directly email that to the court, no.
Did you indirectly email it to the court?
It was my understanding that it would be passed along to the court.
So you did not, pursuant to the order, provide the records to the Superior Court, did you?
Not directly to the court, no.
When you read the order, you understood what the order was requiring you to provide, correct?
Correct.
It was requiring you to provide all text messages.
Yes.
Did you provide all text messages?
I don't have any in my possession.
Did you look for any text messages that are not in your possession about this case?
Yes.
Okay. Did you find any?
No, sir.
What did you do to look?
So I went through the phone that I presently have, and as I informed Miss Little, last year I was under T-Mobile, was my carrier. Subsequent to that, I then switched to Verizon in, I believe it was November. So I made an effort to contact T-Mobile.
And if Dr. Wolfe was a man that did not have integrity, he would have probably tried to get a Verizon deal, right? Like some people that are witnesses in murder trials that try to work with Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports to get a brick watch that they'll wear during their testimony. I would have said, hello, can you hear me now? If I was Dr. Wolfe, right? Because I guess no one gives a shit about any reverence or respect for the court, right?
T-Mobile, as well as get access to my T-Mobile account hub. Unfortunately, I was unable to get access to it or get any records prior to, or at least from my T-Mobile carrier. Then I went through my Verizon records that I have from 2025. That was, I could only go back 3 months, and I provided those records.
How about emails? You didn't change email carriers, did you?
No, sir.
Did you provide all your emails from when you first were contacted by the defense?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Provided every one of those emails to who?
Of course.
To it would have been in the file that I put together for the production.
How many emails did you find between you and the defense?
I'd have to look at the order, but it was probably 6 to. Are you talking about present day or just from last year?
Anytime.
It was probably around a dozen or so.
Who did you correspond with by email?
12 email.
Again, can you specify a time frame?
At any time. Who did you correspond with by email?
Who are you?
It would have been Mr. Jackson. Miss Little might have been on one of those emails. There might have been a couple other members. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Well, how about Ms. Reed?
I don't believe she was on any of those emails.
You've never emailed or been on a correspondence with her by email?
No, sir.
And how about Mr. Yannetti?
He may have been on one of the emails. I don't know as I sit here today.
You communicated by phone with the defense, didn't you?
Yes.
And that began as far back as March 2024?
After our report was issued, yes, in March.
Back in March of 2024, you spoke on the phone to Mr. Jackson
Yes, sir.
a number of times.
Yes, sir.
And as you spoke, you began to become familiar with him and his role in this case, didn't you?
Oh.
We corresponded about, again, our expected testimony here at trial, yes.
I'll ask it again. Did you become familiar with him and his role in this case when you spoke to him?
I understood him to be the defense attorney on the case, yes.
Did you speak to Ms. Little by phone?
I don't believe so, no.
Did you speak to anybody?
Hold on 1 second, please. Thank you.
Did you speak, pardon me, did you speak to anybody other than Mr. Jackson about this case before the first trial?
I don't believe so, no.
Did you speak to anybody since then on
Yes.
the defense team? Who?
So wild. And I understand, babes, that this is the Voadier and that Hank Brennan is allowed to ask these questions. But his ability to kind of interweave or make things look like they have a nefarious or dark undertone or like something is wrong with an expert speaking to a defense attorney, especially since they have been engaged for 2.0 and are going to be utilized as a defense witness, the defense witness, if you ask me. It is mind-blowing. And we're able to look back and turn back the hands of times, babe, and we see that Dr. Wolfe and Dr. Rentschler have done nothing wrong. Nothing. The defense team, for all intents and purposes, spoke to them and paid them after the first trial. But what Hank is doing and what he always does, just as he did when he dropped the quote bombshell that made Judge Beverly Cannoni have an actual like physical reaction, ended court for the day. And she gave a admonishment and like a very strongly worded discipline to the defense team because Hank Brennan misrepresents information to her. It is enraging. Get ready, because this is as bumpy of a ride as one could ever expect outside of a jury's presence. Unfucking believable. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. You need a 1-star Yelp review, you asshat.
I believe Ms. Little and Mr. Alessi.
Okay, and how about Ms. Reed?
He's already said, asked and answered. Asked and answered. I didn't talk to Karen Reed.
No, sir.
Did you ever have any conversations that weren't on a regular telephone? You have a Zoom?
Yes, we have had, I believe it was a Zoom or a Teams meeting. We've had a couple.
When was that?
That would have been more recently to go over some of the testing that we've done.
Did you ever have any Zoom meetings before the first trial?
No, sir.
Did you ever have any group conferences before the first trial?
No.
I don't believe so, no.
Were you ever on the phone before the first trial in a conversation where you and Dr. Rentschler both were on the call?
There may have been an instance of that. I just don't recall.
Oh, think back.
I don't recall.
At some point, you were contacted by Mr. Jackson and you decided or you learned that you may be part of this case as far as a witness?
Yes, sir.
When you learned you were part of this case, did you have contact with Mr. Jackson before you testified at the Voadier?
Did I have communications with him?
Yes.
Yes.
And in those communications, you spoke about your role?
I think we spoke about logistics and coordinating my arrival here for the Voadier and certainly the trial.
Well, when you spoke on
I'm sorry, Armor of Alessi. I just want to give the give the overall picture here of what Dr. Wolfe had to sustain today and what he was subjected to. And I want to provide it because it's important to see, in my opinion, babes, it was the lack of redirection from Judge Beverly Cannoni that really stood out. The ability for Hank Brennan to get up there and throw an absolute hissy fit and speak to a doctor and speak to federally retained experts in the way in which he did was shameful. It's like literally shame on the Commonwealth, shame on Michael Morrissey's office, and shame on Hank Brennan specifically. Oh, he is a Timu Jackson. Absolutely, babe.
March 20th, 2024, didn't you talk about more than coordination of logistics?
Oh.
I'm sorry, what was the date?
March 20th, 2024?
So I believe that would have been the very first phone call that I had with Mr. Jackson.
Was that more than about logistics?
Well, I think we were trying to figure out what should we do. I will note that this was a very abnormal situation for me, being involved in a federal investigation and then ultimately being called as a witness. Well, I'm trying to answer your question.
But you're not.
Oh.
Did you talk about more than logistics?
So are you finished with your answer, Dr. Wolfe, or are you still answering?
I was still trying to answer.
Go ahead, finish.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, again, the situation was abnormal. I didn't know if we could get involved. I didn't think Mr. Jackson knew we could get involved. In terms of a path forward, would we be able to do more work? Could we review additional material? How could we work together moving forward? There was a lot of unknowns, so there was a lot of uncertainty.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Did you talk about more than just logistics?
No, sir.
Did you talk about fees or structures?
I described to him our typical procedure when we intake a criminal defense case, right? There's typically a contract and retainer associated with that. So I described our normal procedure that takes place, yes.
So you talked about fees and scheduling and costs.
No. Again, I don't know if he has wax in his ears. Maybe he has buildup. Maybe he needs an ear lavage. Okay. I don't know. But I felt my skin crawled hearing Dr. Wolfe have to repeat answers multiple times when you know damn right well, if the shoe was on the other foot, there would have been, Judge Cannoni would have jumped down the throats of both our David Yannetti, who is my bowl of spaghetti, and Alan Jackson. It would have been non-negotiable, and there would have been a sidebar and like moving on from this line of questioning. It is disgusting what she allowed to occur in her courtroom today.
Charge.
I did talk about, yes, the contract and the retention letter.
When you talked about that contract, there was a discussion, wasn't there, about them hiring you, paying you, or retaining you?
Potentially. Again, I prescribed our standard procedure.
Why was?
And in the specific email, babes, I'll just tell you, I'll move forward from this till when it gets really heated. But in that email, we've already talked about in March of 2024, there was a line in the email that said, and your retainer as required. It wasn't required and it wasn't paid because ARCA was under federal contract with the DOJ until the end of June 2024. So all communication immediately stopped. Fuck off, Hank.
Was it you were talking about fees and schedules? If you conversations about it with the defense?
No, sir.
So in that 40-minute conversation, you talked about your family, your past times, ARCA, but never ever talked about this case.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm going to allow it.
Correct.
You billed for that time, didn't you?
I believe that I kept track of that time, yes.
Okay. When you kept track of the time, did you submit that time and ultimately get money for that time?
Again, I routinely keep track of my time when I'm working on a project. So yes, that time was kept track.
And I just want to ask for all of our loveys in the chat, okay? Do you keep records of your time as an employee, as a W-2'd employee? Do you not, if you're a contracted employee or if you work with clients and on projects, He's writing his time down. This had nothing to do with the fact that he was going to be paid by whom or what, because his paycheck comes from the company Arca. Dr. Wolfe does not do payroll, bitch. Stop it.
That's not what I'm asking you. Ultimately, that
Lick
time
them
that you
lips.
kept track of,
We love you.
you then submit it and get paid and compensated for that time. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, first off, I'm a salaried employee, so I don't
Oh.
get direct compensation when an invoice goes out. That invoice, when it's sent, ultimately comes back to ARCA. That doesn't come back to Dan Wolfe.
Okay. So in order to get paid for that, you would have had to submit that time through ARCA to then forward it, wouldn't you?
Going to allow it. Is that true?
Yes, I keep track of my time so that my boss knows what I'm doing. Yes.
True.
Okay.
Who asked me that? Come on over.
Oh. And watch this, babes. This is
Yes, sir.
With the defense?
Yes.
Is it typical for a biomechanical engineer to use an application like Signal to talk to an attorney on a case?
Sure.
You know the benefit of Signal, don't you?
I mean, it's a messaging platform. Yes.
Well,
this was a little bit jarring for me. I'm going to be honest. Let me roll this back.
That's something
This
I
was the
routinely do.
one
I'm not going to keep
part
text from Mr.
that I said, oh, but it's just because I'm not educated to like different messaging platforms. I just have text messaging. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I think, and it's probably this case, I probably never would think anything of it except for the fact that the Commonwealth or Commonwealth supporters have been like, oh, you're doing bad things in Signal. But then Mr. Nurse Kim comes in hot and gives me the actual 411 and the deets. He says, babe, we should have Signal. We should 100% be putting our stuff, our communication in encrypted servers so that you don't get hacked, that the like Big Brother can be looking in your shit. Like every time I can text somebody something, I will get an ad pop up that I'll be like, oh, I would love to get a KitchenAid mixer. And then all of a sudden I have 30 different advertisements for KitchenAid mixes. Like there is a benefit to this. And to use the communication via an encrypted app. It is not criminals that use it. There's also another platform called WhatsApp, and I think that is encrypted as well. And him saying it the way that he did, meaning Hank Brennan, was solely to cast a shadow of a doubt on the integrity and the transparency of Arca and Dr. Wolfe. Now, what is Dr. Wolfe? He's going to tell us, Mr. Jackson asked me, or Mr. Jackson said that that's my preferred use of communication, or that's how I communicate. Oh, okay. Perfect. And wouldn't you do what your client said is their preferred mode of communication? Of course. I'd download it right now. Oh.
Mr. Jackson, especially now that we're past a year, I would have no reason to keep this, sir.
I'm not asking
for
the excuse. I'm asking if you did it. Did you delete texts?
Again, it's something.
Hold on, loveys. I'm sorry. Oh, what's happening? We were doing so good. Oh, the gods of Wi-Fi. Talk to Tiny Jesus.
Thing that I typically do. I communicate with attorneys all the time, whether it's for.
Oh. It's probably everybody and their brother watching this part again, too.
Do you remember the next time you spoke to Alan?
As I mentioned, it probably would have been sometime in earlier mid-June.
Going into June, you were keeping track of all your communications with Attorney Jackson or anybody from the defense, weren't you?
I don't know if you mean, what do you mean by keeping track?
Well, do you have a folder where you make notes when you have communications with an attorney and discuss issues?
No, sir.
You don't make notes?
Not for brief phone calls, no.
For your billing, do you save phone records or text messages?
Oh, we're going to move it right here. Come on.
And my.
Come back to us, Tiny Jesus. Stay with me, my loves. Lord, hear our prayers. Uno, dos, tres. Come on, baby. For the love of Vinnie Politan and Co TV. No? All right. This might be a sign from Hank Brennan. He says, no, Kim, no. Stop talking about me. Oh, we got to pull this up. See, I knew it. It was changing. Changes.
Do you remember the next time you spoke to Alan?
As I mentioned, it probably would have been sometime in early or mid-June.
Going into June, you were keeping track of all your communications with Attorney Jackson or anybody from the defense, weren't you?
I don't know if you mean, what do you mean by keeping track?
Well, do you have a folder where you make notes when you have communications with an attorney and discuss issues?
No, sir.
You don't make notes?
Not for brief.
Oh, okay. Okay, we're going to talk through it.
Phone calls, no.
We're going to
Your
talk
billing,
through
you
it.
save phone records or text messages so you have some collateral evidence about the billing?
Oh,
No, not when it's things about, again, logistics and traveling and scheduling. No, sir.
perfect.
By the way, when you put together your phone records and text messages that you sent to the court in response to the court order,
Babes, I just want to tell you something right now. Mistress G, Tiny Jesus, rebuke the congestion in the Wi-Fi. Agreed. Please, please rebuke that congestion. Also, rebuke the congestion from my allergies and or nasal congestion as well. Okay? Physically, spiritually, Wi-Fi related as well. Also, I wanted to give 3 snaps, 1, 2, 3, to Dr. Wolfe and his composure today. His strong part of hair, his dimples, and his composure are matched by none. Okay, second to none. This man is a class act. I couldn't have been me. I have been a consultant in 3 trials. Or I've, to have been come up as to testify, and 1 civil case. And that no one is ever rude. No one is ever that rude. Yes, sometimes people will be like, oh, you didn't document it, or whatever, if they were complaining about the medical staff, etc. But this specific needling that he, as a witness and as an ARCA and a professional and a doctor, he handled it so gracefully. I would have said, go get your number 2s. Sir, go get your number 2s and act right. Okay? Go have Lally sharpen your pencils, you fuck. No, God forgive me. Sorry, Tiny Jesus.
order. Did you have actual records?
What do you mean in terms of actual records?
Well, I see like a summary chart that was developed. Who developed that summary chart?
So that was, again, as I mentioned earlier, I was unfortunately unable to pull anything from T-Mobile. I just could not get access.
Oh.
Then what I did is I logged into my personal Verizon phone records, and I was able to go back for 3 months. I couldn't get back to December, and then I downloaded the spreadsheets, and I extracted those rows and provided that.
Did you provide the actual records or just the spreadsheet?
Well, I provided the spreadsheet, which was pulled from the records. I would have had to redact a lot of phone numbers if I was to put in the full extraction, if you will.
So you didn't provide the full extraction?
I provided the full extraction as it relates to all the contact between myself and Mr. Jackson and Miss Little.
Did you ever delete texts?
From last year?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
After you had text messages with the defense, did you delete those texts?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, after the trial concluded, I mean, that's
Yeah,
something I routinely
did.
do. I'm not going to keep texts from Mr. Jackson, especially now that we're past a year. I would have no reason to keep those, sir.
I'm not asking for the excuse. I'm asking if you did it.
Oh.
Did you delete texts?
Again, it's something that I typically do. I communicate with attorneys all the time, whether it's for trial or inspections. I don't have a habit of keeping a text chain about scheduling or meeting or, hey, can we meet at this time or show up here? I just don't have a habit of keeping that type of text.
So
he's not my friend, sir.
So you didn't delete texts?
I think I just told you.
And here's where I ask again. Is there earwax? Is there a problem? Do you need a hearing aid, Hank Brennan? Okay? Because this gentleman answered your questions too many times, in my opinion. He responded to you. You tried to trip him up. It is a tactic. It's illegal. It's a defense attorney tactic to say, oh, you said you didn't. And he's like, wait a minute, I did. I know I totally said I did. but he doesn't fall for any of it. And why would he keep, oh, you're going to Logan Airport? Oh, okay. Oh, you had a long travel day? Oh, your flight got delayed 3 times? No. What the Christmas would he ever keep those text messages from? No.
Told you that, yes, I did delete the text.
Oh, you didn't tell me, but you just did now. Thank you.
Objection, Your Honor. So next question, no
Okay.
comments, Mr. Bowen.
How many texts did you delete in communications with the defense?
I don't know the number, sir.
You don't know the number?
I don't have the text. So you're asking me over a year ago almost about text messages. I don't recall how many there were.
All right. Was there 10, 100, 1,000? How many were there?
Of ones that I sent?
No, not just what you sent. Either way, back and forth.
Probably, I don't know, maybe around 100 or so.
And when did you delete those over 100 texts between you and the defense?
As I
Okay. I wanted to say that you're going to think to yourselves, 100. He clutched those pearls. He deleted 100 text messages. Well, loveys, I'm here to tell you this. I have text messages in my phone from years ago. Why? I don't know. I should probably delete them. Normal people delete their text messages. I've got texts like from 6 years ago, and it'll be like a thread, right? That has 42 messages in it from the year of our Lord 2019. I don't need them. It's taking up room in like memory. There is absolutely no need for him to be on a thread, right? That they were talking about logistics, they were talking about scheduling, where you're meeting me here, this, that, the other thing. These are not related to his report, to his testimony, or to anything in regards to Commonwealth v. Karen Reed. He is an out-of-state expert. He had to come in for Voadier and then traveled again back here. So there was multiple coordinations. This wasn't one trip because Adam Lally demanded he had a Voadier in 1.0 as well. 100? Oh, it was probably like, hi, like they're not doing, 100 paragraphs, 50 paragraphs to each other, professing their love for the Commonwealth. I mean, for each other, and hatred for the Commonwealth. It was just, not to be Colin Albert, but like, pull up, bitch, bang, bang, like, come on over here. This is where meet me. I'll be standing here.
mentioned, I think the last text that I remember was Mr. Jackson texting me, just thanking me for my time coming up here after the trial. Again, that was at the end of June. And then I didn't hear from him. And at some point, I don't know specifically when, it would have been last year, but I deleted those texts. There was no reason for me to keep them, sir.
Yes.
Do you remember about when you made the affirmative intentional effort to delete around 100 text messages between you and the defense?
It would have been sometime after the trial, probably before I got my new phone in November, but it would have been probably in the month or two after the trial. Sir.
Where were you when you were deleting these texts? Were you at your office, at home? Do you remember?
You know what's cute? He doesn't even get angry. Like for him to, because Hank saying, when did you do the deliberate affirmative deleting of these text messages? He's like, I don't know. Probably probably sometime before I got my new phone. He's just so kind and good that he's not even like acknowledging the incredible low blows and the hits to his credibility and integrity that this mob lawyer is trying to assert upon him.
Sitting down and deciding intentionally you were going to delete over 100 texts. Where did that decision happen?
I have no idea, sir.
You can't remember deleting over 100 texts where you
Sir,
were?
I just said I delete texts routinely. You're asking me to specifically give you a location at a time when I deleted those? I don't recall that.
You said it was after the trial.
Yes.
And out of the 100 texts or so, who were you texting on the defense team?
I believe it would have just been Mr. Jackson on that.
Did you ever communicate by any other means, like Signal or an application?
During the time of the trial?
Anytime.
Yes, sir.
With the defense?
Yes.
Is it typical for a biomechanical engineer to use an application like Signal to talk to an attorney on a case?
Sure.
You know the benefit of Signal, don't you?
Sure.
I mean, it's a messaging platform, yes.
No, encrypted app, isn't it?
And
Encrypted?
I don't know, sir.
It keeps no record of the communication when you use an application like Signal, does it?
I don't know, sir.
Well, you used it. Did you have it on your phone that you were using it with other people?
No, I don't believe so.
So the only time that you use Signal in your career is when you were dealing with this defense team?
Yes, it was earlier this year. Mr. Jackson had communicated with me, indicating that it was his preferred method of communication. So yes, we did exchange some messages on Signal. But this was at no point in time during the first trial.
Using the Signal app, was that your suggestion?
No, again, I think it was Mr. Jackson that said it was his preferred method.
great. Again, asked and answered. And why are you not listening to the words coming out of this expert's mouth? I know that you want to get your points in and your hits and your low blows, Hank. But it really just makes you look like the small-brained, foolish fuck you really are. And it makes you look like you're trying so hard. Thou dost protest too much, Hank. You are so upset. You are so riddled with fear to have these doctors testify because you know damn right well that your case is shit. And it has been since day one, since you took over this calamity of Commonwealth v. Karen Reed. And you know that you don't have a shot in hell of convicting her, at least on counts 1 and counts 3. And you want to prevent a presumed innocent woman in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts her right to a vigorous defense. You have pulled every sneaky, slimy trick that you could to attempt to mislead the court and Judge Beverly Cannoni. But you picked the wrong ones, Hank. You picked the wrong ones.
Is that standard in your industry to use Signal when you're talking to clients?
I don't know that there's a standard out there, sir.
I'm asking about your standard. Is it your standard to use an encrypted app when you're talking to attorneys?
If the client has that preference, I don't have a problem with it, sir.
How many times have you done it other than this defense team?
Again, as I just mentioned, it was the first time.
How many conversations do you think you had with the defense team by Signal?
Again, it would have been just Mr. Jackson. And like I said, it was really, I think, just in the month of March of this year, but it was brief. I know that I think we exchanged a couple phone calls, and I remember the call quality was terrible. So we really didn't use it that much.
Okay, you're saying a lot of things. You're saying you think. I want to know your best memory. I don't want you to think. If you don't know, you don't know. How many times did you use Signal with the defense to talk about this case?
I don't want you to think. I want you to give me your best memory. Oh, Hank, if that doesn't just sum you up as an individual, if that just doesn't sum you up as one of the most pompous pricks that have ever graced our screens in a trial and in a serious matter, in the death of Officer John O'Keefe and Karen Reed fighting for her freedom and her life yet again. And you say, I don't want you to think. I want you to use your memory. Oh. Oh, tiny Jesus, take the wheel. You down with OJP? Yeah, you know me. I would really like Jimmy to make us a song about OJP.
Going to allow it.
From what I recall, it was probably a handful of times.
When you say if what you recall, are you purposely being vague in case there's records, or do you not remember?
I don't remember, sir. As you mentioned, it doesn't keep a log of it, so I just don't recall.
Well, you don't have to rely on a log. You can rely on your actual memory.
Right. I'm telling you that I didn't keep track of it, so I don't know the specific
I don't know.
How many times do you think you talked by Signal?
As I just mentioned, I think it was a handful of times.
I don't know what a handful means.
Probably 4 or 5.
Well, was it 4 or was it 5?
Are you fucking shitting me? Oh, this is when the steam started happening, babes. This is when I teleported. I translated, okay, from English to Espanol in CC, closed captioning. Put me on the rings of Saturn. I can't. I am an extraterrestrial being. I want to know how Hank Brennan doesn't know what a handful of times is. Then we get the answer 4 or 5, to which Hank Brennan demands, was it 4 or was it 5? Oh.
It was probably 4 to 5. It's the best estimate I can give you.
How long were the conversations on Signal? The 4 to 5 times?
I think they were pretty brief. I'd say probably around 5 minutes or so.
You think each one was 5 minutes?
Probably 5 minutes,
Were
yes.
you putting it on a timer? Each one had to be a maximum of 5 minutes?
No, I'm just giving you my best estimate, sir.
How certain are you that the Signal calls were 4 to 5 minutes?
Again, I just told you I'm providing my best estimate.
How confident are you the times were between 4 and 5 minutes?
That's the best answer I can give you, sir. I'm giving you my best estimate.
I'm asking you how confident you are.
Objection, Your Honor. Can you answer that? How confident are you, Dr. Wolfe?
Very.
I can't answer that anymore.
Okay.
When
Next
you were
question.
required by court order to provide all of the records to Your Honor, you knew that one of the important things you need to respond to were communications between you and the defense for Her Honor to consider, right?
Exactly, Carly.
And Signal is a communication, isn't it?
Certainly.
You looked at all your records and knew it listed the text messages and the phone calls. You knew that, right?
Yes.
You knew that was going to be a
Dana Adele says, I kept yelling objection at the TV. Babe, you should have heard me. I go, asked and answered. I was like, Judge Canoni, this has been asked and answered how many times? What are we doing? Oh, I did a lot of Nurse Kim's O's today. You know what I'm saying?
representation that you were making to the court about your communications with the defense. You understood that, didn't you?
Oh.
Yes, sir.
And you wouldn't want to mislead the court, would you?
No, which is why I told you.
I asked. You didn't put anywhere in your response to the court order that there were communications beyond text messages and phone calls. You never, ever alerted the court or anybody to that, did you?
Again, because I have no record of it. I have no way of being able to tell when those took place or how many there were.
The question I asked you is when you responded to the court order to provide all communications, and you responded by offering text messages and you responded by listing phone calls. You knew that your signal calls were communications, didn't you?
I provide everything that I had in my possession, sir.
That's not what I'm asking you. You knew the signal calls were communications, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. And you never informed in your response that there were phone calls through Signal as part of your communications, did you?
Again, because I didn't have any record like I do with the Verizon entries as well as the emails. I could not, there's nothing I had in my possession, sir.
You've read this court order.
And Colleen B., incredible point. I can't believe that we haven't done this yet today. Is there some, Nurse Kim, check your pocket. Is there something in there for Hank? Oh my gosh, Colleen, that's so crazy that you actually mentioned that, because I just was looking over here and I found this for you, Hank. Okay? I found it. It has your name on it. Okay? Don't spend it all in one place. Thank you.
Haven't you?
Yes.
Did you understand when the court was looking for all communications, it meant all communications?
Oh.
And I've provided everything that I have in my possession, sir.
During those 4 to 5 signal communications,
the 4 to 5 signal communications. Oh, look at Carly. She is so kind. Carly says, Hank is a son of a bee. My head's going to pop off. Judge Bev is a disgrace for trying to railroad Karen. Kim, I effing adore you. And I pray that God is going to take care of these, care of this, despite what the Commonwealth has in mind. Listen to me, Kat. She is God right now. Okay. Tiny Jesus is, and God is a woman. Okay. Because she would not allow this shiitake mushroom to occur for the amount of time that it has without an outcome and a message and a meaning behind it all. This sucks. This is so hard for Karen to go through, for the Reed family, and for the O'Keefes. It's tragic on all sides. But the fuckery that has been afoot in the judicial process, and the system in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is enraging. And it is embarrassing. And it should not ever happen again. If Karen had to go through it, and if Officer John O'Keefe needed to be a part of this as well, a part of this story, so that the people and the residents and the future of Massachusetts, our children, our grandchildren, will look back and know that this can never happen again. There will be something that is good that comes from this. And Karen Reed will be freed. And I pray every single night. All right, Dr. Wolfe, take us to church.
We're going to get there, but there's a lot more communications before we get even close to that.
Come on, Dr. Wolfe. Do, 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 do. Oh, we were doing so well. Where are we at with our settings? 720. Should we try to up it? Maybe we'll go to a 1080.
Allow it.
I think when I arrived here, yes.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry, loveys. Come on, please. I don't know why it's doing it. It's not saying that there's anything wrong. Listen, Tuesday's going to be a great day. That will be the reconnection. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it the reconnection stream. Oh, by golly. Well.
And you kept track of your costs, didn't you?
The company does that, yes.
Did you?
Again, I enter my time.
I enter my time. Continue, young sir. All right, we're going to go down to 720 and see if that helps. I mean, I don't get it.
Did you?
Again, I enter my time so that the
stop my camera and see if that helps. Maybe it's just too much on the bandwidth. It's too much on my bandwidth, I'll tell you that. Anytime now, you handsome devil. Oh. Nope. Oh, ho, ho.
You can keep track of my time, yes.
When you came out here and made travel arrangements, did you have any conversations with anybody from the defense?
About the travel arrangements?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
And as far as the travel arrangements, who on the defense was trying to help you with travel arrangements?
I believe it was Mr. Jackson.
Was there other people, associates, colleagues that were helping you as well?
None that I had direct communication with. I don't know if he communicated with others after that.
Was there a person named Kat? You ever hear that name before?
Kat?
I believe that, yeah, she may have escorted me into the courtroom, I think.
Well, you don't believe, because that's a pretty particular name. So when you use words like you believe, you know.
Oh.
So did you meet a person by the name of Kat?
I'll allow it.
I think when I arrived here, yes.
Well, without qualification, the simple question is, you've met Kat, haven't you?
I think I met her. It was either at the Voadier day or the trial day, yes.
Now, does Kat work for the defense?
Oh.
I have no idea who she is.
Oh. You've met Kat. P.S. Let me tell you something. You squirrely, weasel-looking son of a bitch bastard. You who down in Whoville? You absolute dweeb, Hank Brennan, okay? The only one who wants to hang out with you is your petty paralegal 1.0, okay? She's the only one, and that's because you pay her, you fuck. Oh, you're such an ignorant slut, and I just hate it. I am sorry. Tiny Jesus, cover your ears. I'm so sorry, but this enraged me. How dare you? What are you doing? People are named Kat. I know Katrina. I know 8 people named Kat that I could put on one hand. Oh, that's a very specific name. No, it isn't. No, it isn't Hank. Okay? Why don't you go find your Christmas poo, Mr. Hanky? Because no one wants to hear your absolute nonsense. It's just nonsensical. They're like, I don't know who the fuck Cat is. Cat walked me in one time. Oh, great. Wow. I'm lying because Cat walked me into court. Is that what you're really? This is what you're pushing? This is your narrative, Hank. You clearly have nothing else. Ew. All of us have the ick. I apologize. And Bonnie, I love your face. How are you, babe? I know that I heard. I heard this tomorrow, babes, allegedly is Jennifer McCabe Day. Ooh, what will I do? I don't know. I can't even do it live. Why? Because I can't be on live. Well, maybe I could after my guy comes to connect to the Wi-Fi. But can you imagine me live watching Jennifer McCabe? No. Woohoo! Woohoo! It would need to be censored. It would need to be, there would have to be a disclaimer. There would have to be an 18 plus advisory board. Okay. We would have to have people on just blanking me out because I'd be blacking out so much that that you'd have to actually blank me out. Oh, but I'll be there and we'll do a recap absolutely afterwards. Bonnie, I cannot even. May the force be with you and also with you. Lift up our hearts.
Well, how did you know who she was? How was the introduction? How did that go down?
I just mentioned, I think she escorted me here to the courtroom.
Escorted you from where?
I think I drove here and I arrived, I believe, in the church parking lot across the street. And I think she walked me over. And then ultimately when I was done, I think she walked me back to the lot.
Did you have conversations with anybody for the defense about how you would get here and why it is in particular you would park at the church parking lot?
Because I had no idea where to go.
But who told you where to go?
Like I mentioned, I communicated with Mr. Jackson, who provided that information to me.
And did you have any significance about the church parking lot? Did that mean anything to you?
No, he had just indicated, I think, that they had reserved it and it was a spot that I could park my vehicle.
Okay. And when you got there, did you meet with anybody from the defense?
I can't recall if they were standing out there and we walked in together. I don't recall.
I'm asking if you've met them, not whether you walked in together. I'll ask it again. When you arrived after these plans were made, did you meet with the defense before you came into court?
On the Voadier day, I can't recall if the defense was out there. I think on the day of trial, I think I met Mr. Jackson and maybe a couple of other members of the defense team.
Well, when you say you think, this was a pretty remarkable event coming to this trial, wasn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. Don't allow it.
It's a pretty remarkable event, this trial, wasn't it?
It's unique, yes.
Yeah, it's unique. And so when you came here, having had all these conversations with Attorney Jackson, you don't remember if you met him before you came in for Voadier or came in for trial?
No.
You don't remember if you met him?
Well, I guess I think for the Voadier, I think he was already, I believe, in the courthouse. So I think the first time I actually shook his hand and met him was the day of the trial, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. And tell me, is that near the church parking lot that you met with them?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
Was it near the church parking lot where you met with them?
Oh,
yes. Okay.
Oh,
you shook his hand. This is meeting face to face.
Yes.
Right?
My God, watch your tone. Watch your tone. I don't like to be like a bitchy MacGyver. Okay. You know, I don't like to do that, but you bring it out in me, Hank. You bring out the bitchy MacGyver. And you make me want to stand up for truth and justice and the American way like never before. You like bring the fire to all of us because you're so corrupt, ethically, morally, the way in which you approach things. You could have got all this information in a classy way, but you chose not to. Listen to me. I have always been someone, especially in trial 1.0, I would say, oh, maybe we could be nicer. Oh, I wish that Attorney Jackson, and I love when AJ gets feisty, especially with specific witnesses, i.e. Jennifer McCabe. But there were times where I was like, oh, I wish we could just bring the temperature down. I want to go to hell. Do you hear me? Because of Hank Brennan, I want AJ to actually ask Satan to turn up the heat. Because there is no way that there can be any gentle anything in this case. The Commonwealth has made its bed, and now it's going to lie in it. You have belittled, you have besmirched, you have harassed, you have leaked information of experts and attempted to hurt reputations and livelihoods and all of these things for people whom are just giving their professional opinions. And you encourage that behavior, Hank. So now, let's fucking go. Gloves off, metaphorically, verbally, and let it go. Go at it 100% all the time. Never take your foot off the gas, because they do not understand anything except hostility, except rage baiting, except classless, uneducated, and lack of integrity is how it always comes off. You're fighting the fight, but this is not in any way helping you prove your case that Karen Reed, as you allege, is the cause of death and caused the death of Officer John O'Keefe. None of this does that. And it shows how weak you are as a man and how weak your case is, in my opinion. This has me too worked up, so I apologize. That was unhinged, but I love you all, and I don't want to act like, not classy, but it gets you so frustrated that it just makes you want them to strike low. If they go low, go lower, because they don't understand that we have the truth and the facts on our side, not the other way around.
Yes?
Yes.
Did you have a conversation about the case?
I don't believe so, no.
When you say you don't believe so, do you think you had a conversation about the case?
At that point in time, no. I was getting...
Romy and I have texted each other at least 100 times today, okay? So don't make it weird, Hank Brennan. Maybe if you had a friend, maybe if you and Lally actually had a nice relationship, other than you just, tormenting him, making him sad. Law McGlaw doesn't even show up to work anymore. I don't think you're a very kind colleague, just based on body language. Oh, I should have never pressed pause. Oh, please. I'm sorry, God. I'm saying 3 Hail Marys after this stream. I'm sorry, guys.
Getting ready to take the stand, so I don't think we had a conversation about it.
You were speaking to the defense, or Attorney Jackson, on June 10th, 2024. That was before your Voadier testimony, correct?
He doesn't know.
I believe so, yes.
And do you remember what those conversations were about?
I presume it was about the logistics of when we were needed. And then I know that ultimately I served as kind of the primary point of contact, where I think Alan would reach out to me. He would give me some information about the scheduling and kind of when we would need it. And I would check in with Dr. Rentschler, and then I would get back to Mr. Jackson. So there was kind of that channel of communication to try to figure out when we were to arrive and where we're supposed to go.
You're not saying that all your conversations with Alan were just logistics, were you?
I believe for the most part, yes.
So it took hundreds of texts, 100 texts for logistics?
Absolutely. I can certainly go into the day before my trial testimony, which was a very extensive travel day where I don't even think I left the Philadelphia airport.
We're going to get there. But there's a lot more communications before we get even close to that. Okay. Do you remember on June 10th having conversations with Attorney Jackson?
I do remember that there was conversations,
okay.
Yes.
Now, June 10th is 8 days before your testimony. Did you ever talk about an outline of your testimony or what your testimony would be?
No, sir.
Okay. You ultimately have more conversations on June 16th. Do you remember those conversations on June 16th?
Not specifically, no.
You don't remember them specifically? Do you remember whether or not you talked about the case with Attorney Jackson on June 16th?
We did not talk about the case, no.
Did you ever email with Attorney Jackson around that time?
In June 10th?
Before your voir dire.
I don't believe so, no.
No.
So everything from your mind was just logistics at that point.
Yes, sir.
And then you came in for June 17th?
I believe the voir dire was the 18th.
Okay. Do you remember having phone calls on the 18th with Attorney Jackson?
The day of the voir dire?
Yes.
I could have to let him know that I arrived.
Oh.
So you check in with a client, tell them you're on their way, even though you're not going to meet them?
To let them know that I'm coming to court?
Okay. And so when you testified in the voir dire, then did you have further conversations with Attorney Jackson?
After the voir dire?
Yeah.
Yes.
And did you talk about the case?
No, sir.
You had to testify, or you testified on the 24th?
Yes.
That sounds right.
You had a number of phone calls before the 24th. You had a series of phone calls on the 17th, 2 on the 18th, 2 on the 19th. Do you know what any of those were about?
17.
I think it was about the logistics of arriving here because I know that I was going to, as opposed to driving, I know I was going to fly in this time.
Okay, how about the 21st and 23rd? There's a call on the 21st and 2 on the 23rd. Did you talk about the case?
No.
And so when you came into trial to testify, you were just relying on the opinions you had already provided in the past?
Yes.
That were written in the February 12th report
Yeah.
of 2024?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you had not talked about the case with Attorney Jackson or any member of this team?
No, it was all in the report, and that's ultimately what I testified exactly to at the time of trial in the voir dire, sir.
And you did not talk to Attorney Jackson or anybody else about the case?
No, sir.
Perfect. Okay, babes, listen to me. That is the crux of everything. And I want you to put the faith in your heart, right? Let's bring it back because we raged for a minute, or I did. I apologize deeply. But now let's remember what is really happening here, right? We have Dr. Wolfe and Dr. Rentschler and Dr. Klein, who is the third participant of the report from the federal investigation. And remember deep inside, be convicted and have faith in everything, that when they presented their findings in their report to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, to the Department of Justice, that it mattered. This was exculpatory, and this TUI request, or the TUI request that produced this, was over 3,000 pages that was given both to whom? The Commonwealth and the defense, all of which were able to be used by either party for trial 1.0. Now, the ARCA representatives, our guys, our crash daddies, our crash pappies, okay? The Papis, they 100% had completed their report, done all of their testing, created their cannons, man cannons, not man Shannon, but man cannons. And they had done everything before they were ever contacted, before the defense ever even knew their company or anything. In trial 1.0, they only testified to what they had done in that test. In that report, it was 12 pages long. And they said their findings were Karen Reed did not strike Officer John O'Keefe with her vehicle, and Officer John O'Keefe was never struck by Karen Reed's vehicle. Period. It didn't happen. Physics. You can't deny the science and the physics. It did not happen in the way in which the Commonwealth has made their entire theory. He was not sideswiped, clipped on the arm, spontaneously combusting a tail light, pirouetting, falling, striking his head on the murder ground, and his life ended. It did not happen that way. It is impossible that Officer John O'Keefe would have sustained the fatal injuries and the fatal blow by a low speed at 24.2 miles per hour pedestrian strike. It's impossible, babes. And we know that. So now that the defense has engaged ARCA and that they're going to fight back against Judson B. Welcher and Aperture and the accident reconstructionist that was hired by the Commonwealth. It's scary for Hank. He doesn't like it. He knows that he can't win based on facts. So he has to remove the parts of the defense in which prove that Karen Read is innocent. So that's why he goes this hard. And I thank Dr. Wolfe for being the stand-up individual that he is. It broke my heart in June of last year that Dr. Wolfe's wife was attacked and her name and her children were put online by former FBI agent Jennifer Carr. I made a TikTok about it because it was so messed up. She specifically wrote the words. I'm going to read it out loud because she's since removed it. And he unfortunately, still, the Wolfe family has had some serious harassment. And I think that should be allowed in, Judge Canoni. Just saying. Jen Coffindaffer wrote, now we have the answer. Why was one of the FBI, quote, experts so adamant that their opinion wouldn't change without reviewing inculpatory information? And it's because of his connection to, quote, Karen Read, question mark. His wife is in the Free Karen Read Facebook group. Shame on him. And she writes, hat tip to Masshole Mafia. This is real. I still had a screenshot. Interestingly enough, the wife of Dr. Wolfe, she joined the Facebook group the day after closing statements. It wasn't some hidden, covered up fact. She probably watched her husband and was like, damn, that's hot. Yeah, my man knows what's up. My man's a doctor. Okay? I called the doctor and the doctor said, Karen Read's free. No more jumping on the bed. So when we look at this in totality, we know that ARCA is incredible. They're contracted by whom, babes? The Department of Justice. They've helped with IEDs. Nope. AEDs. Nope. IEDs. Yeah. In tanks and preventing injury to like our troops. And they also helped with the hockey rinks, NHL. They have a contract with them to prevent concussions and severe CTE and things like that nature, right? This is a serious company. They are not putting themselves on the line for Karen Read from Mansfield, Massachusetts. Sorry. They believe firmly that the Commonwealth is full of shit up to their eyeballs. And we do too. But they shouldn't have to suffer. Dr. Marie Russell shouldn't have to suffer with trolls bringing up she had an employment law situation many years ago because she needed an ADA accommodation. And trolls on the World Wide Web are putting that up? Like, does that make you feel good about yourselves because you can't attack their report? You can't attack the science and the physics. So you attack them and their families and their reputations. That shows where the Commonwealth really is in this case. But what is at stake? Is it worth it for these experts? For them to show up in a second trial after they've dealt with what they have? I tip my hat to them. And that's why we ain't got no quit loveys. That's why we keep showing up. The people can call us any name in the book. They can try to come for us and our families. They can do whatever they want to do. But we stand for something because we don't want to fall for anything. And we're not falling for the Commonwealth's lies and their inability to take accountability that they messed up in this case, that they fucked up at every turn. They pinned it on the girl, and now they can't take it back. So then we know that at the end here, Mr. Alessi does a beautiful job. He clearly articulates that there is no contract. There never was from 1.0. That ARCA only had the same account with the FBI, or the account that they were billing from ARCA for this case was continued to be billed through the end of their contract, which was after they had testified and after the Commonwealth and the defense had rested.
Was it?
No, again, there was through the entirety from, again, when the case from the Department of Justice came in 2023 till the trial concluded, all of the time was put to that one project number.
In March of 22nd of 2024, was any engagement letter sent to the defense?
No.
As of March 22nd, was there any retainer sent to the defense?
No, there was never a contract or retainer sent to the defense in 2024 at all.
So in terms of the discussion in the March 2024 email about engagement letter and retainers, were any of those ever sent?
No, we were not allowed.
And let's go back to that discussion.
Well, that was great that he mentioned that. And then I just want to show you this, because this last moment, this is Andrew Rentschler, who I love, Crash Daddy number 2, Crash Papi number 2. He never had any communications or text messages with the defense. He never communicated via Signal. I think he had an email, and I fibbed. He did have, I believe, 1 or 2 phone calls. Hank Brennan said he had 23, and he pushed back and said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. Nope, wrong. And then this part came from Judge Cannoni.
Well, they talked to me. As I said, I ate my lunch, and then I actually went and stood in the corner, and then I believe
they tried to say that he has a relationship with Karen Reed and the defense because before he went to the airport, he got lunch. Oh, shame on him.
people came over to talk to me and approach me.
So you spent some time with them?
Certainly, yes.
Okay. And sir, I understand the report is not going to be ready until.
Oh, come on.
May 7th or after?
I believe currently that's what the estimated deadline is, yes.
And so when evaluating Dr. Welch's materials, you want to look at the raw data, the conclusions, the findings, the PowerPoint, all the materials, right?
Yes, you'd like to review all the materials before coming up with an
And you
opinion.
make a decision on what you think is appropriate to contest or maybe agree with, and then do your own test if necessary, correct?
To be able to respond to what those opinions and allegations are, yes, sir.
And it's taken you at least a month.
Allegations.
Well, I believe that's what we've had, a month. I don't know if it's taken us a month. That's basically all we've had up to this point to do that.
And it's still not done.
No, not yet. That's correct, sir.
All right. Is that it, Mr. Brennan?
That's it, thank you.
All right. Can you get that report and everything completed before the 7th? If I order you to do so?
If you order me to do so, I could certainly try and expedite it. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You're all set, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
That is the end, loveys. And by Judge Beverly Cannoni saying, can you get this done within, can you get this done before May 7th? That's your nod. Like, right? If you are a fan of Emily D. Baker or lawyer, we always listen to the language of Judge Canoni or any judge that of any trial we're watching to see which way we think that she is going to be leaning. And this was a moment that I finally was able to unclutch my pearls. And I know, or I believe, I don't know 100%, but via that wording, I believe that we're in good shape and that ARCA will come in. If Judge Canoni did not allow ARCA to testify in 2.0, Karen Reed would have 100% an appealable, like, it would be another trial immediately, right? If she was convicted, God forbid, but if she was, that would be an immediate appeal because this was so out of bounds for her to not allow her to put on her defense. And especially when they were allowed in 1.0. And factually, if you look at everything in totality on a piece of paper, you will see that there is nothing that was done out of pocket. All of the discovery, the payment, the communication, the report was done and given to both sides by the FBI. All of it was above board and given to the Commonwealth by the defense. And yet we find ourselves still in this clusterfuck of confusion. And it is personal. It is purposeful, in my opinion. And that this is the route that Hank Brennan went because he can't win any other way. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, loveys. Okay, let's say hello to everybody and tell you how special you are to me, baby. Miss Jess MB has been a Nurse Kim consensual member for 2 months. Says, I was the first to ever install ARCA MRAP tech in Afghanistan. Oh my gosh, Miss Jess MB. That is incredible. Oh. You are such a badass. I'm obsessed. I love your face, honey. And Nikki Biz says, I love that Dr. Crash Daddy Wolfe understood the assignment, not even bothered in the slightest by Hanky's smarmy self. Babe, you are so right. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Loveromi, we're going to talk another 20 times before I go on Court TV. And Deborah Stewart, thank you so much for the super sticker, Lovey. And Katrina, thank you for your super sticker today. And another one. Geez, Louise, I am not worthy to receive you, my loves. And Meatball Morrissey Sketty Stain, thou shalt ingest a satchel of Richards, Hank. Stop it, Hank. And Diane G said, insert a sweet NK audio short video joke when it comes to being silent. Oh, I know. I'm going to get like audio visual aids, my loveys. And oh, this one was great. Amra Valesi says, Hank was like a pro se Lori Daybell today. Gosh, that is frightening. And also, it feels correct. And look at Tooch Man, my family fun and resale. My little Mario, I am the Luigi to your Mario. Oh, what a day. Day 5, Commonwealth v. Karen Reed. We made it. We are together. All is going to be okay. Tomorrow, gloves on, gloves off. Hair up, hoops out, shell toes on. If you know, you know. Jennifer McCabe is coming to the stand. And we will be there to watch the main event. Get your popcorns, get your pearls, and get your Diet Cokes, Lovey, because we will talk all the shit. I love your faces so much. I am going to be on Court TV with Vinnie Politan tonight, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So is our queen, attorney Melanie Little. Oh my gosh. Are we the team? Are we like the slight insiders? I don't know. We're outside insiders. I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there because if Vinny asks, hey, who am I? I know my topics. I know the segments. And I'm gonna sock it to them. I love your faces. Thank you so much for answering my FaceTime, babes. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.